The world title of Sea Plasticity Contamination is a precise infringement of World Act, campaigners tell. They include been calling for a new world contract to gear the issue. But a new paper, to be introduced to a King Geographic Community meeting on Tuesday, says littering the sea in plastic is already forbidden by current agreements. The paper urges such governments how are hard to gear the question to put legislative blood pressure on such how are no. The document has been spelled by the vet environmental reporter Oliver Tickle. His main finding is supported by Client Earth, the legislative team how effectively sued the UK above failures to encounter air contamination laws. Tickle says legislative activity versus big polluters such as China, India and Indonesia can be undertaken just by a nationality country. So he telephone call for governments and verdant groups to supporting Little Isle nations affliction largest of plasticity contamination. Tickle maintains how sea plasticity garbage can already be controllable via the Joint Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, the London Convention, the MARPOL Convention, the Basel Convention, Usual Act, and some provincial agreements. Paper 194 of UNCLOS, for copy, requires state to hinder, bring, and monitoring contamination of the sea environmental of any resource. Measures shall involve, inter alia, such intended to minimize to the fullest probable degree, the produce of toxicity, detrimental or harmful substances, particularly such that are insistent, of earth-based source. Or shall involve such required to defend and retain uncommon or brittle ecosystems, as so as the aerial of exhausted, endangered or vanishing kind and some forms of sea lifetime. Tickle adds, among all the brush-ringing above sea plasticity, the reality how he's in fact illicit has hardly been aforementioned. Sorrowfully, really few state are in accordance in such to they include devoted for. He says offenders could be undertaken to the world trial of judiciary and orderly to pay reimbursement. But Tickle warns how coercion is not lightweight as just nationality state are capable to give a instance. He believes Little Island's affliction the lowest impacts of sea plasticity contamination may be terrible of opposing the usually greater, more than strong countries accountable for the issue. China, India and Indonesia are amongst the lowest culprits. A new convention might levy more than particular activity, but the policy power necessary for a new world treaty could be put to superior utilize negotiations. A new world treaty is not a before requisite for activity at the domestic standard. Tuesday's meeting is organized by a campaigning team named Artists Draft Land. It is offering the sea plasticity legislative lead.